In this WrestleTalk news, a recent WWE departure has been called suspicious, Brock Lesnar called out for using homophobic language, Luke's review of Raw, and more. Subscribe and enable notifications to Always On for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
Over the last couple of years, there have been some extremely high-profile releases from WWE, the primary ones making the headlines being the wrestling talent, of course. But there's also been major shakeups and changes behind the scenes, some of which might not have been deemed as important or headline-worthy, so it might have been missed, while having just as much of an impact on the WWE culture. And because it's the summer of 2022 and it's wrestling news, of course we're talking about Vince McMahon and his allegations too. Just in case you weren't aware, the WWE Board of Directors are investigating allegations of sexual misconduct from and using company funds as a financial incentive for having a sexual relationship with Vince McMahon. The Wall Street Journal posted an update to their original post, outlining 3 more NDAs that had been uncovered on Friday. And interestingly, one of the members of WWE's board of directors left the company on Thursday, which is certainly interesting timing. The official reason for Connor Schell leaving the board was due to an increased slate of responsibilities from another company, meaning he just didn't have time to be on the board right now, which, yeah, totally, that is 100% a possibility. Dave Meltzer had some thoughts though on Wrestling Observer Radio, voicing what many were thinking that this sure seems to be coincidental timing. It did seem very suspicious, especially because he knew the story was coming on Friday. There's no evidence of Connor Schell leaving over that, but someone abruptly leaving the day before the story breaks, who knows the story's gonna break and also is one of the people who's aware of what is going on in the investigation, more than almost anyone, it's a very curious move without a doubt. It's highly unusual to leave without giving a couple months notice for people to replace him and things like that. Yes, curious timing. Who knows what could have caused this departure? Elsewhere in the wrestling world, Chris Jericho has called out Brock Lesnar for using homophobic language. Sorry about the tone shift. Jericho and Lesnar got into a heated confrontation at SummerSlam 2016 after Lesnar busted open Randy Orton hard way in their match. Appearing on the True Geordie podcast, Jericho said, "I remember being literally nose to nose with the guy and he was laughing, and he was actually saying things that would probably get him cancelled if I said them, like homophobic terms you shouldn't be saying." Also during that conversation, Jericho mentioned that he was ready to bite Lesnar's nose off if the pair hadn't been separated, which I'm sure he'd have turned that into his next gimmick somehow. The nose biter, the nose stealer. Neither of those are good. To finish this little news segment on a positive note, a WWE source reportedly has told PW Insider that they've never heard louder pops for Liv Morgan than the ovations she was receiving on the house show circuit this past week. It was also noted by looking at the crowd that it looked like her merch was selling well as well, which is a good sign for everyone involved. Good for Liv. Happy for her. There's a bunch more news today that I don't have time for, so be sure to check out WrestleTalk.com for the latest. That's WrestleTalk.com. And now, hot tag to Luke.
Thank you for your support on Patreon, Barbaric Garrick Morgan and Gavin Cash Money Kashiwabara. Now it's time for my review of Monday Night Raw, aka, well, nothing is really happening in these 3 hours, but hey, at least the wrestling is okay. Monday Night Raw in about 5 minutes. One of Raw's biggest issues right now is that the biggest thing on either show, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, which was also the biggest thing on either show just a few months ago, hasn't seen either man on Raw since the feud re-began last month, which has left Raw feeling slightly aimless. But Brock was on the show this week, cutting the same Lesnar promo we've seen from him since he returned last summer with that new babyface cowboy gimmick. Although at one point he did say that he would put his hand up Roman's ass and pull his heart out from his butthole. It's a PG show, Brock. Paul Heyman predictably came out and the two tried to do some improv comedy that didn't quite work, and Heyman did his best to get people excited about a feud that should have ended years ago, let alone this past WrestleMania. Austin Theory came out for a quick promo saying he's going to cash in Money in the Bank at SummerSlam, and Brock beat up Alpha Academy around ringside, including brilliantly F5ing Otis through the announcer's table. Yeah, this may be the usual Brock stuff we've seen literally 1,000 times before, but it was an injection of energy that Raw sorely needed. Rey Mysterio took on Finn Balor in a really fun match with all the great spots you'd imagine from two great wrestlers. I'm actually surprised this is a first time ever match, and the two went out of their way to show why people thought this was a dream match. Balor picked up the win with a coup de grace, his first win on proper TV since May. Looks like we'll be getting a tag team match at SummerSlam. Not taking place at SummerSlam, however, is Bianca Belair versus Carmella in their Money in the Bank rematch, as they did it on Raw here instead. Becky Lynch came out before the match to announce that she wanted the title match at SummerSlam because she beat Asuka last week, and well, because I imagine WWE looked at the card for SummerSlam with its WrestleMania rematch of Brock vs. Roman, another Pat McAfee vs. mid-card heel match, and another Logan Paul celebrity match, and thought to themselves, well, we may as well do a Becky vs. Bianca WrestleMania rematch as well. In for a penny, in for a pound. Belair vs. Mella match was okay, I guess. They did a couple of really good near falls for Carmella, but this crowd did not buy her as a threat, so they didn't get invested in them. But this was a half-decent match, so it's time to spin the wheel of bad finishes! Right, let's spin this. Come on, give me a good one, give me a good one, give me a good one. A count-out win! Come on down, you're today's winner! Yeah, Becky stopped Bianca getting in the ring, so she got counted out and Carmella won. She didn't win the title because them's not the rules, so Belair beat up Carmella afterwards to show who really won. It was Carmella. Carmella really won. This was done to restart the feud between Becky and Bianca, and it is far too early to be running that back, but perhaps this was also a way to get Mella into the mix? I don't really know at this point.
Visit WrestleShop.com every day for the most stupendous in wrestling merchandise. WrestleShop.com. Wrestling merch for grown-ups.
If you told me 2 years ago that I'd be seeing Tommaso Ciampa wrestle AJ Styles on Raw, I'd be really thrilled. If you then told me he'd be playing second fiddle to The Miz to further a feud between him and Logan Paul, I'd be asking you, who the hell is Logan Paul? But then I'd also be really sad because Ciampa deserves better than The Miz. He teamed with The Miz here to take on Styles and Ezekiel, who feels very unspecial without Kevin Owens there to carry the character. This was a good match, which means it's time to spin the Wheel of Bad Finishes! That's right, we get another spin today! Ho 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 ho! Here we go! What's it this time? It's the old classic DQ for kicking too much ass! This was a baffling one too. AJ had Miz in the calf crusher and Ciampa broke it up legally and got DQ'd for his efforts. Honestly, have no idea how this got written down on paper in the first place, let alone get signed off and put on national TV. People watch this show, guys, at least try. Alexa Bliss and Asuka beat Doudrop and Nikki ASH in a decent match, and Alexa continues to feel directionless. Raw then advertised a match between Angelo Dawkins and Jimmy Uso, and I thought I'd put on an old episode of the show, but the joke was on me, as R-Truth came out to say that he should be the referee for the SummerSlam rematch, which brought out Omos for reasons, and a 6-man tag happened instead. Look, this isn't a particularly hot take, but Moss is quite terrible at all of this. And the match was only good when he wasn't in it. So of course, he won. But did he pin R-Truth? You know, the guy who was comedy foil for the missing 24/7 title picture? Whatever happened to that? No, Moss pinned Angelo Dawkins, one half of the #1 contenders to the Unified Tag Team Championships, because why would you try and protect these people and build them up for their big match? This achieved absolutely nothing and was a total waste of time. After getting the same spooky promo earlier in the show, we got the next tease of Edge's return. While the first one focused on his Attitude Era feuds, Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, the Dudley Boys and the Hardys, this one focused on his Ruthless Aggression PG era feuds, John Cena, Mick Foley and Randy Orton. I'm quite intrigued to see where this reflective Edge is gonna go next. And the main event saw Riddle team with Bubbles Splashley to take on Austin Theories and Seth Rollins, and it was a totally fine match for the most part, getting really good by the end. But the big talking point was Dolph Ziggler coming out wearing a nice suit and watching from ringside. Commentary put this over as a big return, even though Ziggler was in the Battle Royal 2 weeks ago, and was on Raw interrupting a segment with Omos and MVP a few weeks before that, but this did feel like a true reset button press and a new character change. It was also the hottest the crowd had been all night, popping big for all the big spots from all the big boys who were fantastic in all of their roles. The finish saw Theory attempt to get a pin on Riddle with his feet on the ropes, but Ziggler stopped that to allow Riddle to pin Theory with an RKO. You know, Theory, the #1 contender to the United States Championship. Because why would you try and protect these people and build them up for their big match? So Dolph is a babyface now and is going to feud with Mr. Money in the Bank, presumably to remind us all, show the world if you will, that he also had a great Money in the Bank cash-in, which was set up earlier in the night when Theory told Rollins he had the best cash-in ever. Like most weeks of Raw as of late, this was perfectly serviceable television. Outside of a few quibbles and terrible finishes, there wasn't a whole lot of bad on the show, but also not a whole lot of good either. Just a lot of stuff that's happening. Aside from Brock F5ing Otis through the table though, that was awesome. This week's Raw is 3 out of 5. In this WrestleTalk news, a WWE star breaks character at a house show and walks out. WWE producers are extremely overworked, according to a new report. Sasha Banks has been edited out of a new WWE video and more.